Hey, how's it going? So, first let me let you look at some signs before oh shoot, I'm attached to the cord. Hold on. Big hand. Give yourself one. Oh, yes. Please read my signs. Thank you. So, today I'm using my tripod and it's kind of a weird angle. I may have to back up. It's also taking up space in inconvenient places, but it's working. It's still working. So I wanted to have a little talk. Let's wrap. Don't run away. So I have made like my last few videos for the most part. I'd say like the last 5 of them I kind of liked one. I just felt like I just wasn't clicking, you know? And honestly, having to strain like what it does, like nothing, I felt like nothing was getting through. Like there was a layer of spiritual goop between my brain and spirit, kind of. And, but I know that can't be the case. There was just like I don't even, well, I do know actually. I didn't know at the time what was happening, but like I have been having the the cold sinusitis thing, whatever that is. I don't know if you can hear it. In my nasalness, I still have that going on. But, you know, I feel pretty much okay. So, but the other thing was happening where, like, I often will record a whole video and look at it and go, oh, no, no. Not that. I'll do that again. And it's fine, you know. Well, it's not fine because it's usually, like, some mistake in the middle. And because I'm, like, challenged with this stuff, I don't know how to go. I mean, I do know how to go take it out if I want to edit something, but I don't I don't do it. I don't want to do it. I want someone else to do it. So I'll often just re-record the whole thing, and it's fine. But lately, I've been making ones that I've just... One I did just throw away. Like, I just watched it. Or I didn't even finish the whole thing. I was like, this is just terrible. And just got rid of it. So, I know they haven't been up to par. Apologies. Friday and Saturday, and just the past several days from like Thursday, I was just feeling kind of like undetermined. Like I don't even know, but malaise. I was in a malaise kind of, and it's just kind of frustrating because I don't know. It put into perspective the feeling that I often have, like, you better hurry up and get the lead out, or you should be doing something. Like, it's kind of silly to chide myself for sitting around on my ass when I can't really do stuff not sitting around on my ass. And then I guess I'm lucky that my brain functions as well as it does, since it has 4 intrusions going on in there that just tumors that are taking up space that normally would just have like brain. So the interference I have from that is physical mainly. So why did I start talking about that? Well, I guess to point out that, like, for the most part, I'm functional. But I can't, like, jump up and start running around and doing stuff as much as I'd like to. That would, that would be causing more problems than just sitting still, which I can physically do that, just not well, and I shouldn't. Like, I have really bad vertigo, and, I can walk, but it was decided by everyone that I should sit the hell down because my bones are like chalk and I do have a tendency to fall occasionally. It's like a safety measure, you know? But when my brain shuts down, then it's like, well, shoot, I can't do anything, right? And then I start going, well, what did I do wrong? Wait, you didn't do anything wrong, nothing's wrong. So I finally had to say to myself, look, just enjoy it. Just like, you don't have to think. Look at it that way. And once I looked at it that way, it was just kind of like, okay, I can just go along. And so it's cleared my mentality has cleared somewhat today. And I did like a really long sort of like cannabis induced deep meditation, like deep, like I'm talking Snoop Dogg levels of THC type treatment. And gosh, I wish I could afford that, or where, I don't know, I guess you could get it online. I'll have to look into that. But it was strong on purpose because I wanted to have an altered state. And it was good. And then I woke up and because every time I meditate, I fall asleep. And then I came in here and I was looking at YouTube, and there's a channel I've been watching for years called DNA Awakening. Oh, and by the way, I should probably write it on my board. I post other people's videos and things on my community section on here, so I should have been saying it, because a lot of times I'll post something that has to do with what I was talking about in a video so that there's continuity. But since I haven't been mentioning anything or not even really noting much, it's just putting them on there, which is fine, still works, but there is supposed to be a level of continuity in them. Okay, I'll stop slacking off on that, I guess, but now you know. So, you know, like, food and diet has been on my mind a lot, because, not because of the obvious reason that I just like it, but because of the whole, what you put in, like, what quality of life, basically, you'll get from it. So, this is my 4th time having this channel because of various technical ineptitudes of mine, or a couple of times I had so many problems with people just like doing things to my, I guess I was not doxxed, but just people that could do stuff online to me but had some problem and were messing with me, and I had to like just delete whole, like I had to like factory reset stuff, so I just lost like everything a few times. So this is the 4th time, and one of the first videos I put up, the first comment I got on here was, "Eat raw food." Got it. Okay, first of all, I get it, because like the obvious, like I said, but I am aware of the benefits of eating raw food. I'm also aware of the not benefits of it. So also, I'm not one of those people that can just cold turkey one way of life and just be a raw food person immediately. And then there's the whole I like food thing, which is a whole thing of itself, because that involves cooking, which I like doing. And then, like, I'm a pretty good cook. I've had jobs in restaurants where they're like, "Here, we'll give you money to, like, cook for the people that come in. We trust you." And whatever. So, I mean, you can definitely be creative with raw food and all that stuff, but what I would like to do as far as my diet, and it's been an ongoing process because it's a change of habit, and for anything I'm doing to stick, like, it's gonna take a while. So maybe one day I will eat raw food. But I mean, it's a process. Like, I can't just switch. No, that's not gonna happen. But I did appreciate the diagnosis. Felt a little harsh, but that's okay. That's probably just me taking it that way. It was nice of them to say, because, I mean, they could have just said, hey, eat Cheetos and, fried everything, like, basically go die. So I took it like, choose life. Okay, thank you. So, like I was talking in my last video, though, about sugar, and how if I'm going to believe in evil devil Satan, it's sugar. Like, totally influences you, gets on your mind, and then it has its minions, like the food wizard at, they used to be at Frito-Lay. Like, I think the guy he was like an older guy. Anyway, I don't think he's still around, but I'm sure he left record of his work, and he was the flavor master. I mean, they have us eating some total garbage, but we'll do it because it has a good mouthfeel and a flavor. And it's like, it's hard to break free of that. It's convenient. But you know what? It's not cheap anymore, and it's easy. But I mean, if you were with an Easy Floozy, maybe the Easy Floozy didn't use protection and is giving you all kinds of easy STDs. Do you see the connection I'm making there with how bad the sugar in the food that they make it? They stayed big food. Evil devil. So, today I'm going to talk about plaque. Oh, God. So plaque I usually would hear about in regard to, like, ventricle and heart disease. It's like plaque, like layers of byproduct and garbage from our food and beverages, and I'm not gonna like crash down on people for not like taking the time to make a good diet for themselves, for their own health, because of the convenience, the addictive flavor, and, the mouthfeel and all of that stuff. But, then you have to learn to cook, and people think it's really intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. You can make really good, simple food for relatively inexpensive, which is what I have ended up doing. Because one of the things about, eating the bad food is you get layers of crap left over from it because it's indigestible, or it digests slowly, or I don't know. I'm not a doctor, obviously. But the thing that really I didn't like was the stickiness thing. And there was a lady that was on, I think, Dr. Oz years ago, and she was like she wasn't a doctor. I think she was a nurse of some type, or a nutritionist. But she was the first person I saw to bring out those yellow fat logs. They're like 5 pounds each, and they're like one of those rolls of weird ground beef that's in plastic you cannot see through. I'm sure I've eaten plenty of it, but it scares me because I can't get a look at it. And she was saying that if you eat something like Cheese Whiz or cheese sauce or butter, which is kind of like water because it can be a solid or a liquid, but if it cools as it's a liquid, it turns back into a solid. I don't know what it's doing in your bloodstream because I think it's pretty hot in there, but probably blood and oil don't mix well. Yeah, they don't mix well. Duh. So that was years and years ago, and I was just kind of like giving my chili dog. But now I'm more conscious of like, well, here's the thing that I guess scared me is they were talking about plaque in the brain. And he said it's not like plaque on your teeth necessarily, But that's not necessarily hard or anything either. Because if you scrape it off, it doesn't come off in shattering flakes. It comes off like crud. Crud. I'll stick with that analogy. So in your brain, all of this like sticky, gooey stuff that you're eating, it goes in that way. That's kind of how it stays. Like that lady, the nutritionist I saw, said years ago. But then this thing I saw like 2 days ago, they was talking about dementia and like Alzheimer's, and it was a doctor who discovered that, wow, it's a, oh God, I don't know if I can find it again. Why did I not share it? Okay, so the doctor found that he could use ultrasound to pinpoint areas where there is plaque. But in your brain, it's, like I said, not shattering solid flakes. It's like gooey, yucky, gummy. And it should not be in there. It makes everything kind of get literally like gummed up and stuck. And that's Alzheimer's, I guess. So this guy, he's like in the surgery theater, and there are a couple of doctors in there, and I guess they had to like open the guy up that they were working on. It was this elderly guy, and they had one of those halo things, which I don't know if you know what that is. It's like they put us like a band that they attach to your head, and then it has like almost like one of those things you put on a pet when they get spayed and neutered, the cone, except that there's no cone, but there's some kind of something. Obviously I couldn't see it. I had one used on me when I got the brain tumors, so they could go in there and look, and that's what it's for. It's kind of like a stability thing to like keep me from moving, and they wanted me to talk a little bit so so they could know if I was lucid. But of course I'm just all blah 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 blah. The doctor finally was like, okay, shut up for a minute. Stop talking, you're moving too much. So I'm just not real sure what goes on the halo, but I know they were like bolting things onto it, and like, oh my God. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that, except to say, when they opened my skull, they used this drill that looked like an old-fashioned egg beater or drill, like, and that's what I saw, like, going past my eyesight, and then clunk. So they had to open up my skull, which is what they use those for, that kind of surgery. So that's what was happening with this guy in the surgery theater. But then my brain is also giving me like sound booth or recording studio images, because it was kind of like that. Like the surgery studio was here, and then there was a wall with a big glass window, and there were a bunch of doctors sitting at little consoles, and they were all working various areas of like steering where the ultrasound was going to go. But the ultrasound, I guess, broke up a clot that this doctor had determined that was causing this guy's main problems with his Alzheimer's. And it was an outpatient thing. So, I don't know, maybe they did not have to open him up. I know surgery's a lot less intrusive than it was in 1990, brain surgery. So, they like did whatever they did, and it broke up so it could like course away in the blood vessels. And the dude got up and walked out of there, and he had like a really bad or that was another patient, but he got up and he walked out of there, and he's like, oh my gosh, like I my mind is so clear. And he knew stuff that he didn't know before he went in, that like he couldn't remember. And they talked to his wife like afterward, and she said he still has like some problems, but he's not like, I'm not finding the car keys in the refrigerator anymore. And I was like, that's good, because that's one of those signs where you're like, oh shoot, you really got to start worrying when you start finding stuff in places where they're not supposed to be. So and then there was another guy that had a really terrible shaking problem. It's a total it's a total disease. It's an actual disease, but they can't like eat food. I know you've seen like comedy about that. For them, I'm sure it's not at all funny. And I've seen like devices you could get, and the more generations of them that come along that make it so that people can eat that are all shaky, they're getting like out of the sort of novelty snake oil stage to like real things that actually work. But now this ultrasound procedure treatment has come along, and he went in there and they did him, and he came out and he was like, just, like he could have been smoking a cigarette. Like he could get his hand to his mouth without doing semaphore, So that is good. But it called my attention, thank goodness I don't have those problems, but it called my attention back to like that, staying away from that kind of food for that reason. And I have not had Cheese Whiz for many, many years. I generally don't get nacho cheese sauce. And I have, months ago, I just started noticing that, because I watch like a lot of food shows on these shows, and people go nuts with the cheese. Like, I have never thought an extra cheese pizza was a good idea. Who wants to sit there chewing greasy rubber for 20 minutes so you can't even like enjoy the other food on the pizza because you're so busy chewing a cheese cud? It's gross. And I started feeling that way years ago, and I've gradually, I love cheese, don't get me wrong. I want to go on a cheese tour in England, don't get me wrong, but I just think people overdo it with the cheese, and then they put like cheddar cheese on stuff. Like Papa Murphy's, God bless them, they're cheap and they're nearby. I can actually get myself down there and get a stupid pizza, but I don't though. Rarely. Pizza's expensive. What was I saying? Oh, well, anyway, yeah, like, I just have gradually been gravitating away from, like, excessive cheese abuse. And it's probably a good thing, because it's a little late stage to be, getting all that kicking into gear, but it's been gradual. I'd say, like, definitely over the past 10 years, more, my diet has made the gradual change. And that's why it was, like more than 10 years is a long time, I think, to make that kind of change. But, I don't know that I want the raw diet, because actually that sounds like a lot of work, a lot of prep for my taste. Like, I'm not going to be sitting around chomping on a celery stick. No. That's baby steps. So, okay. Now I'll do cards. I don't care how much time I wasted talking about that. Well, I do. Here, don't look up my nose. 23 minutes. Not bad. Okay, so first card I pulled was from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, and it is the number 31. Oh, that's the guidebook. You don't need to see that in the hand. So the subtitle on here is "The Universe is Your Partner," which I love, because I have been talking about in videos before this about, after years of finding or losing my jewelry in carpets, suddenly I began to find it. Miraculous. But, and there was another thing about, whatever. It was a thing about hearing a drum beat start, and I'm thinking it was one song, and then it turned out to be a different song. And then the next day I was writing about just that, like that I heard this song thinking it was something else, and it turned out not to be. I know that sounds like a terrible post, but fuck off. Anyway, while I was writing that post, the song that I had thought it was the day before came on, and it just felt like synchronicity, and it just it just made me happy. It felt like it tied into a little bow, the whole situation. You had to be there. But I said, like, it's fun with the universe, and it is. Just like, well, other things that happen that are just like, what the hell is that happening? But it's like just funny and fun. So, in that way, the universe was partnered up to have a little laugh. I will read from the guidebook to further synchronize that stuff. In hand, feeling secure, taken care of, the universe is your partner. Now, when I pulled this card and I got this out, remember what I was saying about like feeling like, I guess, kind of like shut off in a way? 'Cause really, like, when I was feeling like, wait, I'm not like connecting, my videos are kind of cock-a-doodle right now. Like, I gotta like fix that, and that I have to fix me to fix that. Like, whatever it is, I gotta fix it. But it made me feel a little bit insecure. Like, wait, can I not do it now? Did everything go away? And then I know that, like I said, I know that's not true. Like, kind of once you get rolling in this direction, your setbacks are kind of mental. You're just still moving forward, I think. So, but yeah, I was feeling a little insecure. But some things happened, like today, like the video I talked about, and then someone came along and asked me for help, and I was able to help them in a way that was like, they were grateful for having had the conversation. They said that, and it's like a healer moment, and I love it. Oh, so, feeling secure now. Taken care of, the universe is your partner. Something amazing happens when you contemplate your intimate relationship with higher power. How do you engage it? Perhaps you might have seen things through the influence of your religious background, or you may have been exposed to other ways of making that connection real for you. It doesn't matter the source of your understanding. What matters is what works for you. I love that. You know why? I'm going to tell you. Because here's a little adjustment that I had to make recently. I have complained about this before, and it kind of totally was complaining. I don't want to go into why it was a complaint right now. Like, whatever more I have to say, it's enough. But we all, when we're starting out, I don't know, we all, a lot of us, I'll say, have questions when we're sort of getting on this spiritual awakening role thing. And understandably, someone's going to say something that you're going to find is maybe not credulous or credible. So I have felt many times that I've said something on like Twitter or doing this, where someone on like the Sterling Psychic Medium show will have seen it and are like questioning the validity of what I said. And I know that sounds crazy, and I also know that more than one person can think of the same thing all at the same time. But it's been when it's really specific, like the details of the question are like what I was just saying, and it's like, really? Why are you questioning me? Well, why not question like the object of the question, or better yet, how do you see? Because I guess it took me a minute to get to this place, because first it irritated me and I was complaining about it, and then I moved into the stage of, well, wait a second now, if you're questioning that I said it, and usually, especially the specific thing that they said, that was me repeating what I had heard from someone else. And I did stipulate that at the time. And then when he answered the question, first he said no, but then he said all this other stuff that made it also yes. There's that. But my thing at the time was like, wait, you're already questioning the question, so you just doubt it. Why do you gotta ask him to make sure that you're doubting it, you know? You may not get to the answer, but, so, I mean, I was like, okay, well, there's nothing wrong with having a healthy level of skepticism. In fact, isn't that what a lot of us that complain about, like the MAGA people, is that they're not skeptical enough to be critical thinkers, to question like all authority, not just the one you like, or to not question the one you like. But you know, I think people get to those kind of decisions in different stages because everybody's different. Different stuff happened to all of us at different times, and so I can't believe I'm getting back to my point. The reason why I bring that up is because we all sense things differently. I don't know 100% that this person was referring to me, but I was flattered that she referred to me as I don't even know if it was a she, because they didn't say, I just feel like it was. They referred to me as another psychic, and I was like, oh, well, gosh, how nice. I don't feel like I'm quite, I wouldn't categorize myself that way quite yet, because I'm still working on mediumship myself. But I do have some skills that I can work, that I know function well. And I know that I'm learning, and I know so a lot of people are also learning, so I gotta like stop being so touchy about that. But we'll all find our way however we do. I have discovered some interesting things about my own ways of sensing stuff, because a lot of times I can connect with, like, you watch these videos and they say, oh, they're timeless and it could affect you even though it's a general reading. You can get something out of it. Like, if you do this, you know what I'm, like, if you partake of this or do it even, you know what I'm talking about. So, I have found that I get help. Like, I sometimes need help, like a boost to whatever I'm doing. And I was like, I don't know if that's a thing. Like, that sounds weird and made up. But, two things. There's a show called Psychic Kids, and I was watching it, and it was the ones where the kids have grown up and, like, they're now adults, and they're still, like, some of them learning the mediumship themselves. And there was a woman, and it came on, here's the universe being my partner. I'm all worried about, like, is this a thing that I think I'm doing? Like, well, I mean, I feel like that's what I'm doing, so, like, well, I'll go on. It's what I'm doing. The woman, in particular, who was one of the psychic kids, is a person that works better. She has, like, different psychic things turned on, but she works better when she works with a team. Like, she doesn't need a boost necessarily, but it helps. And then I feel like whatever, when they connect with her, like, everybody is exchanging energy to raise their level of, well, they're dealing with ghost stuff, so, of protection, especially and specifically, spit these teeth out one of these days. But that was really reassuring, because I can watch something and I understand now that it's like you are connecting with the person who put out the video. You get to connect with them and their team of spirit guides and angels and ascended masters, etc., ancestors, relatives, the whole catalog. But I feel like, and they say that you can make this connection, so I feel like I'm getting help from the guides of other people sometimes, which I'm sure like the whole matrix framework is based on um, assisting each other. It's a cooperative, as in they cooperate with each other for stuff to give to work. So yeah, it was just like it made me feel better, and I wanted to just say that because when I've watched a lot of stuff about psychic stuff since I was a kid. It just interested me, and one of the things that I have learned is that, well, the first thing I learned was that I saw it on TV and thought, like, that's how it is. And it's like, on TV is, like, on fiction shows, sitcoms, and that, not really how it is. Even movies and shows about it, not, most times, not how it is. Well, back then, especially. Now it can be more realistic because there's more real people that you can see in, like, unscripted shows doing it, and it's hard to say that ain't a person doing that thing. So, that was my first lesson. It's not how it looks on TV, and that led to me learning that it's not how it looks when other people do it. I mean, maybe in a family you'll have, like, certain similar traits and abilities, but I've seen that even in a family, everyone doesn't all get the same stuff or any at all sometimes. Maybe it does the skip a generation thing. But, I don't know if that's a thing either, because it's said across the board that these abilities can be developed. So everybody has it on some level. And, do you believe in it? Do you take it seriously? I'm sure that all factors into what level that you have. And then also, if you hear someone saying mediumship, to me, that's like learning how to medium. And there's mediumship teachers and mediumship students, but you interact, and that right there tells me that there's a level of exchange. So something's already existing in us, the ability to do that. Let me move on with this here, but it's not going to look the same in everybody. Did I make that clear? Let me make that clear. Shoot, let me get in the light. For example, okay, let me go back one more sentence. It doesn't matter the source of your understanding. Oh, heck, let me go back even further. How do you engage with your higher power? Perhaps you might have seen things through the influence of your religious background or your television. That's my addition. Or you may have been exposed to other ways of making that connection real for you. I love how it just syncs with what I have going on. Okay, it doesn't matter the source of your understanding. What matters is what works for you. For example, if you believe there's a punitive God, you will be afraid of punishment for your transgressions. And let me affirm that by what Sterling always says, and many other psychics and sensitives, and even people that don't have any of that, or that they're aware of going on. You create your own reality. That's a real thing, and we even acknowledge it a lot of times, although I think a lot of times also when it's said, it's not said in the spirit of, I totally believe that's a real thing. It's more like a skeptic thing, but they live in their own world, You've certainly heard some version of that phrase. There's some truth to it. There's a Colonel Sanders of truth to that. Okay, if you believe in a version of a higher power that blesses you, you may find it easier to surrender to a relationship of radical trust. So you can believe in a God that's not going to lash you for, like, the smallest transgression and the whole line for the rest of your family's existence. Doesn't that sound like something a human would say? Like, fascists and the communists and the Marxists and the perverts and everything in the kitchen sink. This sounds human, huh? Right now, if you imagine relaxing, curled up in the hands of the divine, how does that make you feel? Like floating in water? Weightless? Can you then turn over your needs and desires to the divine power and trust that you're safe and secure and don't have to do anything at all to feel that way? Well, I mean, isn't that the dream? Isn't that like heaven? Yes, I aspire to that. You're in good hands. Oh, wait. Grace is activated in your life now. You're in good hands. Dream it, be it, I guess. Why not? Why not? You're in good hands. Your work, family, relationships, home, everything. You've done all you can, so now is the time to rest and recharge instead of producing, doing, acting, strategizing. A hot tea, a good book, a soft blanket are in order. Well, on that note, back to my weight in that, if I do this every day, I see what I eat and how it affects me. Like, if I eat, like, bad food, it's gonna, like, salty, processed, sugary, my face is gonna blow right up. So, it's hard. I can't, like, be dishonest about it. Well, I started to say that I'm not finishing the thought. Well, I'm just going to have to put it aside for now. So, the Scorpion, I pulled that card also from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. And I will read from the guidebook what it says about this little fellow. Just because, okay, so here's my impression when I picked it up. I want to clarify that impression business. I could say that I'm intuiting from it, and I suppose I am, but I say impression because I look at it and I get like a picture that's telling me stuff. Like, I can pull the words from the picture from my brain to fill in the words, but the picture like sets off something. So the impression I got when I picked this up was the stung feeling that I felt, because I felt like I was like blocked off and like, wait, can I not play anymore? And the thing about a scorpion is you're not just going to automatically get stung and die if you see one. You may not get stung at all. You don't have to, like, sit there and let it sting you. It may not even be near you. Like, you calm down and get rational about it. We are the same way about bees, but I feel like it's irrational if we don't have, like, the allergy to the bee venom. But that could be something, like a real fear of anaphylaxis, or it could be like a deeply felt fear that you don't even know where it comes from. You just know that you see those things and you want to run. And there's nothing wrong with that. It could be from a past life, or I don't know, like something could have happened when you were very young to scare the living poo from you about scorpions. But I just want to say that it doesn't always have to get you. So that was my impression. Let's see what the book has to add. Thank God, I feel like I'm back. Okay, so the scorpion is a fire element, and it's hiding from me. Where are you? So I also just want to chatter a little bit about, I found this radio station, and since I haven't had internet for a while, I've missed being able to have multiple tabs open and having like a YouTube playing music in my background. It's like I can control it more and stuff. So skip commercials for one thing. So I've got it going in another room, and I found this great station. And it's from the area where I'm living in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. I've said that to people before. They're all the Pacific Northwest of where? Oh yeah, there are other places. Typical arrogant American. But anyway, and it plays a lot of stuff from the 90s, which is kind of the era that I'm stuck in a lot, but also from the 70s, 80s, from like all kinds of genres too. So it's like I don't have to get up at least and keep switching the music, or even if I had the computer working, I still would have to be switching to like fit my mood. And it's a playlist, but they do add new stuff fairly frequently because according to them they have a library of thousands to use to put in and spice things up. But generally it's been like my mood, and that's always good. It just, like, certain songs will come on and I'll just be awash with emotions and like memories or just emotions, and I'll just be like, what the hell, this song's never done this to me before. So that often takes some delving into to determine what the heck is that about. But that's fun and interesting too. So it's called KPNW, if you ever want to listen to it. And I discovered something, and I wanted to listen to it on my phone while I was out on my ride. And then I did it when I was I opened the app when I was about to go out one day, like about to roll out the door, and then it was all it's like attached to Facebook somehow, and it was all you got to enter all like the PIN and blah blah blah. So I didn't do it, but I just thought, like, as long as the station's on, I think it would be something that I would just take with me wherever I am because of the app. I'm like so pleased with it. Like, it made me in a good mood for weeks and weeks now, like since Christmas time, and I haven't had to get rid of it yet because the playlist changes enough. It's nice. Like, it's nice. Okay, so I found the page. Is Scorpion. Passionate, competitive, tends toward isolation. Now, see, tends toward isolation, that's that thing. You ever hear it said about like a bear or something, that they're more afraid of you than we are of them? And in a way, us being the so-called apex predators, we can, like, if we have time, defend ourselves more than adequately. But the tending toward isolation is like, they're isolated for a reason. They're staying away from everything else for a reason. Like, not out to get selfied by some tourist or whatever. But isolation is not always great for a single soul. You do need some interaction. I was going somewhere else with that and I lost the thread, but maybe I'll find it again about the isolation part and the don't approach the animal, the wild animal. Reading the book now, the scorpion is a passionate and determined creature. Their career is very important to them, as are a few select friends. Sometimes the scorpion's heat festers and they focus on an unresolved event from the past, usually a situation where they were left feeling burned. The Scorpion card says it's time to come clean about your feelings so everyone can heal and you can get back to your usual fiery but fun self. When in balance, wild and free, fierce. When out of balance, jealous, resentful, unresolved. To bring into balance, honesty, forgiveness. Well, I think that's interesting because if you want to draw somebody that's in isolation, that doesn't want to be touched and doesn't want to be bothered, you got to approach them in a certain way that makes them feel comfortable and secure and relaxed, so that they don't don't rush it so they take it the wrong way and jump on you first to lash out and sting you before you can sting them. And I wonder, well, I don't have to wonder about me, so I guess I'm not wondering, but I was going to say, the isolation, like, the getting burned and feeling stung is what kind of sends me into isolation. Another reason to think of twice about approaching someone in isolation, like, you know, maybe keep your distance from the wild beast that has the potential to sting you or hurt you. Use compassion, yeah, but also, like, be moderate in your approach is all I'm saying. And who would that, well, I mean, it certainly applies to me. I'll just leave it at that. It could apply, if it applies to me, it could apply to other people. And you're free to apply the application of it to anyone you feel is applicable. Okay. That's enough of that. Thank you and good night. Wait, am I done? Yeah, I'm done.